Hey, welcome back everybody. Back in the garage here with Chaz again. And gonna keep on going another week. Didn't really do a whole lot yesterday, just kind of enjoyed some time with friends and family. Kind of took a little bit of a break. But out here again playing around today. Just gonna do a little bit of tinkering around, get things prepared. I got parts coming in. Explain a little bit more on that later on. Just wanted to touch base with you guys and say thanks so much for coming back. Appreciate everybody that comes and watches things. Drop me a comment. Tell me any story you have about an old Volkswagen or even just an old car. I'm liking the old Volkswagens. They're fun to work on. I've done old Chevy Camaro SS. I've done Harleys. I've done old Jeeps. All sorts of ones that I've played with. And I'm not sure what the next project's going to be, but I'd love to hear some stories of things that resonate with you. What you've done a job like this on, or just think, you know, what's the car you love? Tell me that. And I love hearing where you guys are from. It's super fun. Trinidad, you know, Denmark, Croatia, Sweden, South Carolina, a bunch of places in the States, and spots around Canada too. Really super fun. Love hearing, seeing the people that get to see the videos from all over the world. It's awesome. Volkswagen buses are a lot of fun. They don't drive like performance cars, but my God, they make people smile. Super fun car to be bombing around in. Any rate, thanks again for coming back. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Do me a favor. Smash the like button on the videos, share them on your social media for me, and leave a comment. If you can tell me what car that you really like or an experience you had with a Volkswagen, that'd be awesome. Cheers, everybody. What are we going to be doing today? Well, got a little bit of a change in plan when it comes to this track. So we started doing a repair on it there a couple days back now, actually. And we did a repair in here, and it is pretty solid. Everything's decent. It rusted out at the back edge at the very front. So poke around, looking at that, seeing what it was going to take to rebuild it. I was going online to see what the new part is for that space. And then I came across a part that I hadn't seen before. Obviously, I was looking with my eyes closed, and my wife would say, however, there's a part that you can replace the back side of that and the track. You don't take out the track that's along the bottom edge of this, because that's all actually one piece. But so I'll be cutting that clean. I ordered that part. It's going to give me everything in the front here that's then perfect, and I won't have to try and reconstruct it and fix everything. And I think it's going to be better. I can fix this one, but I am doing this bus for a friend, fixing everything up on it for him for free. He's a veteran. And quite frankly, he deserves to have his bus back. He's had this thing for 26 odd years, 27 years, and hasn't really been able to use it for the last dozen or more, largely because being moved around province to province, and you have to get a safety every time you move, and it had some rust holes, wouldn't pass safety. So we're fixing that. And my whole point to doing this area, if I just repair it, and 5 years from now it's rusting out again, that's kind of a nightmare spot to try and fix with all this new metal on the outside around it already. I would have to cut some of that metal out in order to cut that out again later, redo some work at the B post here in order to do the job that I'm now going to do. So I ordered the part. I should have it in a couple of days. I'm just going to start taking some of these pieces off that are put on for fitment. Going to clean up some stuff. We're going to clean up the shop. We're going to put all the tools away again. I'm going to sweep the floors. Just going to do a day of that. Maybe fit the outrigger in place up here, just check for alignments, tack it maybe, a couple little things, get it back in here, get it on the jack stand so that I'm ready to go, because I'm going to have to rebuild that B-post. And that's probably all we're going to do today. So won't be a whole lot of footage on it. Going to kind of move things around. I started setting this rear corner in place just for fitment, although it's going to get cut down to about where the yellow line is. And anyway, I'm going to make that shape that we need to, fit it into place, trim away what old metal has to come out in order to fit that in there nice and clean, tack it in place like we did on the other side. But that will be like one of the last pieces I go on. I'm going to finish this, the B-post, this skirt. I got to weld the piece on the back tub still, but everything is fitting. It's lining up nice. It lines up real good with this bottom edge. Everything is fitting in place really well, and the alignment of everything is really well. So it's just a matter of starting to weld things up. So we're going to keep on going at that. Let's do it. All right, a little bit of update. Started kind of fitting a few things in here. Got the front outrigger set in place, just tacked it there, a couple welds on each side, in there and in here. Got this panel that will fit up in here. Sits in there like that. Sit in there so you can look at it. So that'll sit in there like that. I'm going to have to do some trimming for that to be able to be put in, but that's going to clean up the bottom edge of the bulkhead right down to the outrigger and the jacking point. But that's of course not going to go in until the rest of the inner rocker and other pieces are here from shipping. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start cutting out that lower cross member piece underneath the top hat. Looking at it, and kind of was going to wait until after I got the top hat and pieces in place, but I'm going to remove that now and start preparing this new piece to go in. So I'm going to have to do it this one in order to be able to put it in there. And I've got the big tube there in the center. Sorry, the big tube there in the center is going to be in this hole here. So what I'm going to do is cut this one here and up, and just take this top section off on both sides of this tube so I can fit those in on top, weld them to the top hat up in this area. I'll just put this chunk here, right from about here across. I'll put that on top of the tube, both sides, this side and this side. Put those in there. They'll pinch weld with the top hat, and then I'll be able to slide the rest of this up underneath and fit it in there. The only other hole that's going to matter is this hole over here with where it's actually a wiring loom. I'll probably cut the bottom section off there, put the wiring loom up in there, and then just weld that piece back in so that everything is there. The rest of the tubes and channels that go through will actually slide through this one, cut out here, here, and then down at the end. And that should take care of it. So we're going to start picking away and trying to trim that out of there and fix things up. Let's do it. Okay, we got the lower section of that cross member out and all the control tubes that are going through. So we've got heater controls. Not sure what this one is. Some more tubes over there. Heater controls, clutch cable goes through, throttle cable goes through. One of them is a vacuum hose, the steel part of it, steel tube from up here all the way to the back, and then it's a vacuum, kind of like a compression resistant vacuum hose that goes on to the engine to provide the vacuum suction for the power brake booster. But one of the metal tubes up here, I believe it's the one that's actually going through the top hat up there. I believe that's the one that goes on to the brake booster. I'll get underneath there and have a better look at it. Throttle cable, heater cables, throttle cable, clutch cable, heater cables, vacuum tube. This tube across the center at the top here is the tube that the ship rod linkage goes through. And here's another heat control tube. So it just opens up the air flaps on the heat exchanger tubes to allow heat to be blown up to the front. Comes through this bottom tube on the bottom here. It's insulated. That's seen better days on this bus, but you know, is what it is. Another thing to repair. It's one of the things that doesn't last well under rust conditions. But we've got it cleaned out. I'm going to take a little finger grinder and kind of clean up some of the edges where I did take the metal off. Hard to get in there and see, really. See if we can get a better look at it. You can see where what's left of the cross member. So I'm going to clean those things out, and then I'll start prepping the new panel. Like I said, I'll cut a little bit off the top so that can go above the heater tube, and then this will fit up underneath, and it'll all weld back together, and that way the tube goes through. This one here on the end that allows for the wiring harness that goes through. So there's a rubber hose here. Should be in a metal tube all the way through from this cross member to the other one. But that's all rusted away as well. So it might just stay in the rubber tube, and maybe I'll just put some hangers on it so it's suspended there. But we'll cross that bridge a little later when we figure it out, because I don't want to pull all that wiring out to be able to put a metal tube in, just fish all that wiring back through. I think that's going to be a future dawn problem. At any rate, we're going to keep picking away at this, clean up some of the edges. Some of these cuts here need to be cleaned up still. Straighten out the metal, can give them nice clean cuts. Because these pieces down here will actually weld to the front edge of the top hat up underneath. And the bottom of this will weld to these top pieces of this piece are going to weld right to the bottom edges of the top hat, and that's going to give all that rigidity back there in the center. So I'm going to get that piece in there, clean all these things up, fit it in, weld it in, run the welds across the top here nice and easy with, sorry, a lot of sun, with that welder. My little Princess Auto guy works freaking fantastic for $140 on sale right now. As a matter of fact, I think it's on for $144, Princess Auto, and fantastic unit. I'd buy it again in a heartbeat. That's what we're going to do. We'll keep picking away at this. Let's do it. So, this guy's going to go in there. What I want to be able to do is I'm going to take and trim here into this circle a little bit. Just a little cut there and there. Do the same thing on this side so that this piece comes out. Do the same thing on this side, take that piece out. That's going to allow me to take that piece and fit it on top of the pipe here. What is it? Over there. I'll turn you guys a little bit. So that pipe right there and there, I'm going to be able to fit this top piece that I cut off above that, weld it to the bottom edge of the top hat on either side, and that's going to put the piece on top of that pipe. And then this piece, the rest of this, is going to slide up underneath, and we'll weld those pieces back in, up from underneath, which will be the easiest, of course. You're going to get burnt a bunch of times, but that's going to put the cross member together nice and solid and keep as much integrity of the original part as I can. I'm likely going to have to do something in this little hole here too, and maybe I'll cut just this bottom section off or something like that so I can get the wiring loom to slide up through there. I'm not really sure what's my best approach on that one just yet, but that's what I'm thinking, is welding it up underneath there. The other challenge to that is, of course, welding anywhere, so much heat near that wiring loom. I don't want to weld or melt through any of the wires and create electrical problems for myself in the very near future. So we're going to think about that one a little bit, but I will cut off those little top pieces, kind of get those to fit. And I'll generally have this fit up into place. We'll go from there. Let's do it. Okay, so got everything cleaned up in there. Got the middle cross member on the bottom there set up in place, not welded in yet, not tacked in. It's just up in there. Looks decent. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure under the bottom of it before I weld it in, because I want to close this gap right here. You can see that gap very good where I'm clicking the screwdriver. A bit too much gap in there. I want to be able to close that up a little bit before I tack anything in on the ends of the inside of the frame rails. And then I'll be able to weld these pieces back in on top. Tack those into place. Make sure everything's fitting real good. Weld all that up. That's what we're going to be doing next. Let's do it. Alright, little change in plans. I think I mentioned it already. I forgot which parts I spoke to or not. Ordered this this new part. Goes on it's the middle rocker. It just doesn't have the very top track that goes up underneath here for the upper horizontal wheel for the lower door track. But this will fit in there. It'll weld to that top track, the piece that's coming down. There's still a chunk of it there, which I'm going to keep trimming up. That's all going to weld in there. I'll be correcting the spaces in here, getting everything to line up. This will all weld back in. I've got to get it closed up here yet, but that's going to weld in. It'll weld then to the rear arch, and that is going to be the new door track. So we're going to close that all up. I'm just piddling around right now to get it fitting. But this is going to be a much better long-term repair for this section, because getting back in there, like I had mentioned before, rather unpleasant. And trying to rebuild the very front corner that I was looking at, it's like, wait a minute, for 160 bucks I can get this part, open things up a little bit more, get this in there. The inner rocker is going to go in once I have this fitting to fit on the back side of this, which will weld to these cross members, these three anyway. I'll tack them into there. It'll get welded to that rear fender, and it'll start to close up the front. It'll weld to the front of this edge back in here. There's a vertical spot that I'll show you later, and all the way along this edge will weld to the inner rocker. That is going to really firm things up. Once that's in place, we're going to finish fixing the C post here, be able to finish the B post. And with that in place, this rear fender can then get finished. So I've got to finish tacking that in. The position of it was a little bit off, so I'm going to play with that some more. And that will start closing things off there. But a couple more days piddling around out here, or 4 or 6 hours or so, and this is going to be getting closed up. That'll get closed up. I'm going to finish the top hat outrigger, all that section right to the B-post. So structurally, all this stuff is going to be buttoned up real good. We'll be able to get the battery tray welded into place. Outer rocker. Bunch of those things. And the rest of the floor is going to come out, because once I start buttoning all this up, I want the rest of the floor out, but I want it solid before I take out any more material there. And I have some new top hats over there, the gray ones and black ones. Going to be replacing the last two under the floor completely. I had replaced just the end on the one piece. It's like, you know what? Gonna have to do the floor. We have it open. Let's put new ones in there. Got the Autocraft ones, which are nice and heavy duty. Although for some reason they sent all of them with the boxed out section, do different part numbers. Image doesn't show that, so I'll go back to CIP and try and sort that out. That should be fun. They're not the greatest to try and sort out discrepancies. And no matter what the issue is, it's your fault. Yeah. All right, got a little bit more done. Front outriggers is tacked in place. The top hat is now in place. It's welded together in the center. I still have to do all the welding along this edge with the pinch welder. I still have to weld this outrigger on, but I'm going to remove the front wheel, finish welding all of that stuff up here shortly. But we have an inner rocker all the way in, all the way along. Still have this outrigger and top hat to put in, but we're going to remove the rest of this floor after. Going to weld it to the back of that arch and finish closing up all the pieces in here that make this nice and solid. So right now, the middle rocker's in place, and we're going to be putting these together a bit tighter. This is all going to pinch weld together along this bottom edge, and then finally the fender is going to go in here. It's going to weld to that edge. And then from this point to the B-post is the outer sill piece that goes in, and it actually welds to the very bottom edge of this, giving a little groove like this along here. If you remember, there's a groove that kind of goes in underneath there that gives you space to put the seal in. So that's part of the lower sill. That's going to go in there. And we're just going to keep on going. We test fit the door already. It fits on quite nice. It's a little bit tight. But I can do a little bit of tweaking to sort that out a little bit better for us, and that should be it. But I think it's looking pretty good. We're getting there, but I'm gonna keep playing around welding up the areas up in here. Don't need to bother filming that. Gonna finish closing that in, then I can work on the B-post and close in that section just above in here where it's all rusted out. But that's going to get all kind of cleaned out in here. Sorry, there we go. So we're going to clean that area out right in here. And we have this panel that's going to that area, and that'll cut out some of that stuff. That piece will weld in once this top hat is welded on, because this top edge welds onto the top hat again, and this is the new edge here going into this corner. So I cut some of this out. Kind of goes up into here. So we're going to be able to cut this away, fit that in there, trim, cut it so it fits real nice, and weld that in nice and clean. I'm going to try and make a real nice clean job of that, because the fridge goes here, so you don't normally see it, but there's a possibility that it doesn't put the fridge back in, and then you will see it. So I want to make that as clean as I can. Thanks very much again, everybody. Have a good one. Cheers.